Hi there, I'm back again to talk to you today about moving to Mexico. And it's great because today I have a special guest, so let's get at it. Please allow me to introduce my friend Susan, fellow resident here on Isla Mujeres. She is also a small business owner who divides her time between here and Denver, Colorado as a professional lifestyle and event photographer. You will find Susan around the island photographing some of the best weddings that have ever been seen, as well as doing elopements and proposals down at Punta Sur. Here you go, I'm going to let Susan tell you all about her journey.
Hi, I'm Susan Pacek, Susan Pacek Photography. I have been a full-time wedding and portrait photographer for a long time, since 2005, and have been photographing primarily on Isla Mujeres, but also throughout the States and other countries as well. I first discovered Isla 22 years ago this month, actually. My family and I were taking a vacation in Cancun, and my father had been here before, told my sister and I, you guys should go check out the island. So we took the ferry over and spent the entire day on the island, took the last ferry back, and while we were here, I just had this feeling that someday I was going to live here. But you say that and you never believe it's going to be true, but it ended up being true. Anyway, we came back about 3 months later and actually spent a week on the island, and the rest was history. Kept coming back, and I have been renting full-time on the island for, this is my 9th year, and it's been the same place. I love my neighborhood and my landlady. I was working when I decided to move here, but the beautiful thing is I was working here on the island as well as back in the States, photographing destination weddings. So the catalyst that really made me decide to move down here is the cost of flights. Initially, it was really inexpensive. My clients were flying me down for their destination weddings. Then the prices went up, so that wasn't happening that often. And then I started thinking, well, nothing's really happening in Colorado in the winter. People aren't getting married. Families don't want family pictures. And so the idea is just move down here. I can reduce my pricing a little and hopefully get more business. Did I have to give up anything to come here from home? Some of the little bitty luxuries initially, because you didn't have Chedraui, which is the big grocery store here on the island, and didn't have access to a lot of US products. I'm kind of a foodie, so I was pretty particular on what I wanted, so I had to be a little creative in the beginning. But in terms of giving up things, no, I don't. I think my life is fuller here than it is back in the States. I think I gained. Yeah, I did gain. I feel like it's not as crazy and hectic as it is in the States. I think life is just a little more chilled here, and even if you're working, like I'm working every day, I still feel like it's not as crazy as it is in the States. Finding my first apartment was a challenge. I basically told everyone I knew I was looking for a place, and just completely to put the word out. And every time I met somebody new, I would ask, and for months going back and forth at that point, couldn't find anything. And then one morning I was sitting in Barlito's restaurant eating breakfast, saw an acquaintance of mine more than a friend at that time, and she had heard that I was looking for a place, and she's like, I'm giving my place up, do you want it? And I said, yes, can we go look at it? Literally, I went and looked at it, signed the lease. That was in May, and then I had to leave for the summer, and then so I really didn't get to move into it until October. For people that are looking to move here now, I think it's a little bit easier. There's a lot more information out there. There's Facebook pages that you can go and check to see what rentals are. But still, just driving around and looking for signs is a great way to do it. And don't be nervous about actually knocking on someone's door and asking them if you see a sign. Or sometimes they'll have a phone number. Text them or call them. Use Spanish because most of the time that's what you'll need. Five years ago, I started the process to become a permanent resident. At that time, it was a little harder. Each year you had to apply. So initially I got my temporary residency. I had a friend help me that first year, and then the next 2 years I did it on my own. I was pretty proud of that. It was a complicated process, a lot of time sitting in immigration in Cancun. And then just this past December, I got my permanent residency, which I'm so happy about. I do recommend hiring an attorney to help. I did have one for the last 2 years and wish I had from the beginning. They are not that expensive and they will save you so much time and energy. Have I considered living anywhere else? Yes. I tend to kind of stick with Mexico right now because my permanent residency allows me to live here year-round as well as legally work here. So I'm looking at a place up in the mountains called San Miguel de Allende, and it's about a 3.5-hour drive from Mexico City, kind of smack dab in the middle of the country. I have loved living on the beach and loved this warm, beautiful weather, but I'm kind of looking for something a little bit more different, cooler climate, and a little more culture. I consider myself a global citizen. That's an interesting question. That's a tough one for me to answer. I'd have to say yes and no. Yes, in that I spend half my life living in Mexico, and I do travel a lot, at least before COVID. I've been all over the world, and it really feeds my soul, and I can't imagine ever living in the US for long periods of time. I love my family and I visit them, but to me, living abroad is what makes my heart jump. Is living outside the US my retirement plan? Absolutely. I don't see myself living in the US for more than a handful of months a year, primarily to visit family and friends, but I would love to live abroad. I have my permanent residency, so I'm set if I want to stay in Mexico, but it would be great to explore Europe as well. Would love to go back to Romania. I would love to spend time in Spain and Portugal and France, the countryside. So I think what I would probably end up doing is just traveling to different places, spend some quality time there, like 3 months, move on to the next place. Affording the lifestyle I live, I have a condo back in Denver that I rent, and that covers my living expenses here in Mexico, and then it's paid off, thank God. So I'm actually able to put some money in the bank, and it covers my HOA and my utilities there. And so long term, what I envision when I'm not working anymore is to rent my place like a short term, like a visiting nurse, visiting doctor, and they would have normally like 3-month stints. While they're living in my place for that 3 months or 4 months, then I would then use that money and go live somewhere else and travel, and then kind of do it that way. What are my top 5 things that I like about traveling around the world? Meeting new people, exploring different cultures. Like I mentioned, I'm a foodie, love the food. Just opening my eyes to different things that are important to different people. I think we all live in a box that we either create or that we think is made for us, but I think when you step outside that box, your life is so much more full. If you're coming to Mexico and you are looking to get married, propose marriage, you got your family, you want to renew your vows, please give me a ring. Susan Pacek Photography. Instagram is Susan-Pacek, P-A-C-E-K, and Facebook, Susan Pacek Photography. So, thank you.